Forged secretly in mortuary archaeology's hottest furnace, it's Archaeodeath.
So what further archaeological themes can we find in Andor Series 2? It's Archaeology Professor Howard Williams here, and in an earlier video I addressed the archaeological dimensions of the representation of Coruscant, the galactic centre, the capital of the Empire, which is a planet-wide city with many layers of construction over decades and centuries building out from the natural landscape, and where we see many different layers of history in the different styles of architecture. But I also addressed how this seemingly completely humanoid, or at least sentient species construction with no animals apart from one or two pets, no plants, is an environment that's so large that resistance can hide in plain sight in the Axis Alliance's rebel cell flat or apartment, and in Luthen Rail's antiquity shop. So you get this sense of the antiquities themselves evoke a deep time galaxy and a distant past, but also give this sense of they are a form of critique within the establishment. The medium of the trade in antiquities embodies the plundering of the galaxy, the acquisition of lost things to be recontextualized in collectors' displays, and yet that's the very medium that Luthen uses to hide in plain sight, to infiltrate the elite of Coruscant and to walk amongst them as a respected and well-known figure. And yet it is also an antiquity that takes its own life. And I also talked about the use of vintage pulse radio technology as a means of communication for the rebels. So they use old tech as a way of circumventing the imperial system. But in this second of 5 posts, which will complement my blog post on the subject, I want to take us to the core world, the galactic core world of Chandrila, which is the home world of Senator Mon Mothma. Now, Chandrila serves as an important counterpoint to Coruscant, and I think this finds parallels in the ancient world inspirations. So if Coruscant is like ancient Rome, the most extractive parasite on the Mediterranean, where resources and people flow into it, and it consumes everything, and given the scale of this urbanity that is out of control, it's a mixture of ancient Rome with the extension of modern late modernity that never is checked, as a planet that becomes a city. Then Coruscant, with its beautiful upland scenery, palaces and opulent culture, is very much like a Greece under Rome. It's been subject to Roman imperialism, but it remains free and aspiring to the liberal democratic principles under which it was found. Now, that's my inference. They don't explicitly make that parallel in the show, but I think that there's a lot to the luxurious, tranquil scenes that we see in the architecture of Chandrila, in the wedding scene, through multiple episodes, that give that impression. Here we see many rich and powerful Chandrilans, as well as Luthen Rail and his assistant, who is there to bring an antiquity to the as a wedding gift. And so we see the connections of the elite and Luthen Rail infiltrating into those circles. And the architecture is more than backdrop here. I feel it is giving us a sense of this almost cyclopean architecture of the Mycenaeans or of the Inca, these massive stone blocks arranged in formal outdoor settings, giving that sense of deep time antiquity. And we learn that the Chandrilan society is many thousands of years old. So I think that the architecture is more than simply just window dressing. It's speaking as part of the narrative of these ancient cultures. It's not specifically ancient Greece. It's not trying to just be one culture. There are Japanese, Korean and Chinese influences blended in. But I think that idea that Chandrila is an ancient civilization with ideals and a structure and a hierarchy. It's not there's no socialism here. This is a very hierarchical society with deep set social, religious, and political mores. And I think that's what the architecture is telling us beyond simply being a backdrop to a wedding. And the majestic landscapes of Chandrila also underpin those ideas of deep-seated social and political traditions and a religious culture of linking ancestral land, because they go on a wedding hike to gaze at their ancestral lands, and some kind of off-screen ceremony is alluded to as taking place. And this is part of the many rituals that take place over a multiple day wedding ceremony for the Chandrilan elite. The funeral, the wedding itself, I should say, is likewise taking place in elaborate palatial architectures with rituals, dances, and a whole series of ceremonies and drinks and speeches. And in that regard, again, the architecture, while clearly alien, and you can see allusions here to 18th, 19th century European aristocratic culture as much as anything else, blended in with far eastern ideas. You also have the idea of a wedding gift as absolutely central. This vaguely anthropomorphic figure, alien in its design, but to my knowledge not drawing on any specific archaeological aesthetic. But one could mention the Cycladic figures of the Bronze Age Aegean as one possible inspiration for the Chandi Merle. But in the story, the important thing is that this is an item that's been acquired by Luthen Rail and sold via Davos Skulden, the father of the groom, to secure this relationship between two elite families, Mon Mothmas and Perrin and Davos Skulden. And so the gift, the sculpture, is a medium of prestigious display and exchange that enhances Skulden's position, as all prestigious gift exchange ceremonies are, and also his family claims to the potential future offspring of his son's marriage. But also it's shown to be literally unique, a priceless object. I give you this piece of our history, says Skulden. May it bind you to the land and to each other. So even though he's obviously a dodgy dealer, perhaps criminal, it's left unclear. He is a banker. He is a capitalist, and he is exploiting and working within the imperial system. He still relies on those social, political, and religious enmeshments of Chandrilan society to inhabit and perpetuate his dynasty. And the gift of the Chandi Merle, which we learn has sacral and historical significance going back many thousands of years, is absolutely key to this. So we learn that Luthen acquired it or found it, but we don't exactly get to know how or where or why. We learn that it was an ancient temple figure that was lost in an invasion, lost when it was stolen by Rakatan invaders 25,000 years ago, a ridiculous amount of time, and that there had originally been 12, and this is a ninth that has been recovered, or at least its whereabouts is known. So it's supposed to be one of a finite set of figures. It's unique, it's distinctive, and it is telling a very specific story of the past, of Chandrilan past, and the relationship of these wealthy families. And yet, despite this prestigious object, it's not beyond criticism, with Perrin noting that it's worth more than the entire house. So we are going to see this deep world building and culture building play out. Coruscant is a a sinkhole for all of the galaxy, which is it sucks up all that power, wealth, and people. Chandrila is like a Roman occupied Greece, still holding to its own ancient traditions and cultures. But next we'll move to Gorman, where attention is shown to a deep traditional society reliant on the textile trade, and where material culture is absolutely central to their society, their economy, their culture, and their resistance to the empire. But that'll be in the next video.
If you've enjoyed this Archaeodeath video, why not check out the Archaeodeath blog at howardwilliamsblog.wordpress.com.